Hey Clashers, everyone at the top ranks is playing the same deck, is playing the same hero. King is playing this deck already for now quite some time. I am playing this deck as well if I want to win. This third guy is playing this deck as well. Atom, Banana, and Music, everyone is playing this deck. It is crazy, and we're talking about the Queen deck. I will show you in this video how exactly you have to position to make sure that you're winning pretty much any matchup against people who have not watched this video. So I think we should dive into some gameplay. Now I will exactly show you how to play this deck. They're already happening the first tournaments in Clash Mini, which I love because they're fully skill based. Other than the current leaderboard system, unfortunately, which is only time based. So for example, we know King, the rank 1 player, who's a good player, is playing 10 to 12 hours on average a day, kinda, which is giving this crazy trophy lead. But it's not skill-based. Tournaments, though, they are fully skill-based. Mind games. Which deck are you using? Which hero are you using? I used in this tournament the Queen as a King counter. So as soon as I thought, okay, my opponent is going to use the King, I picked the Queen with this deck. The deck which I'm running right now is using the Prince instead of the Pekka, but it's totally up to you which you're preferring. After this tournament, I have to say I have learned that I like the Pekka more than the Prince, but this is totally up to you and as you would like to have this. This setup which I used right there is actually incredible versus King. There's only one setup on how you can beat this Queen setup in the beginning with the Giant Skeleton and the Lumberjack in the back. The only possible setup is the Archer, Star level 1 and the Miner. This is the only setup on how you can beat this setup in level 1 of the Queen. And, well, it unfortunately happened. So we now need to pick up more rounds. And the key thing for Queen is as you're getting later in the stages, you are the one who's dominating the match. So even if you lose the first 2 rounds, you can easily come back. Now the question might be for you, iTzu, is this Queen deck only for level 10? No, you can use this Queen deck for level 5 and above, and it will do really well for you. Obviously, with level 10, it's getting way easier for you because you have this level 10 ability. But at the same time, the other heroes, if you're not facing over-leveled heroes, have the same faith pretty much. So this deck is all around really good. As I said, you can use the Prince, but you can as well use the Pekka for the Miner catch. It's totally up to you what you prefer. I prefer by now the Pekka as shown below me. But now we have the Prince in this setup. And this is a setup which pretty much always works. Like this exact setup, if the enemy has the Magic Archer, is a really good one. So let's take a look. We're catching the Miner with the Lumberjack. We need to have a crazy comeback. His Magic Archer is connecting, but my Pekka, my Prince is taking it out. And with this, we can get this first comeback win. From this point on, we have to win every single round. We have to be really careful with this Magic Archer. The Magic Archer is one of the best minis against this Queen Turtle strategy because you're cornering your Queen pretty much from the back and from the front. This is all what you want to do. So let's take a look how we do that. First off, I remove the Prince in front of my Queen to make sure the Magic Archer is not getting this chain value pretty much. This is like the key thing. Now I'm having the Lumberjack behind in the back and I have the guard as well. One of those two is going to catch guaranteed the Miner, and exactly that is happening. The Lumberjack is coming back, making sure the Miner is not getting any value. The only thing the Miner is doing is activating my level 10 ability from my Queen. Thank you. GG's. Next win for us. And as I said, typically you win 1 or 2 of the first round. So the Baron King is most of the time getting maybe like 1 round. And that's it. Like this Queen deck is actually insane. It's broken. As I said, every single top player in the leaderboards are using this deck. This deck as well was one of the deciding factors how far I got in the tournament, and I will share at the end the tournament bracket, how far I got and how I did in the tournament in general. Those are obviously only a couple of examples. Next one again, catching the Miner with the Lumberjack in the back, the Queen taking it down, easy peasy, and the Queen again, killing everything. This 1 HP buff for the Queen got a change in this last update, where her energy to activate her super got reduced or like increased by 1, which means you had it was easier. It was easier to activate the super. Now it's harder. Now it takes longer. But for that, she got 1 HP buff. I think this is actually an insane buff overall for this hero because she is surviving so many times with 1 HP. You just saw it so many times. 1 HP, it's insane. Next one, we're facing against another barbarian king. Again, my favorite setup. Lumberjack in the back, and then the giant bomb in the front. You can see, it is just crazy. It's so hard to crack this with the barbarian king. It is just impossible. The only setup which is going to win against this, as I said, is the miner and the archer 1-star. That's the only setup which so far I found to lose against, except like a really unlucky prince connection or something, and that's not too many people are playing the prince in the first round. Next one, again, we don't know yet, and that's the next key thing. With this queen deck, you have to know your matchups. There is a couple of different king decks out there. One of the king decks which we have just played with the magic archer, another king deck which is sometimes using the prince, and another king deck which is using the healer, like the battle healer. So you really have to identify early what you're facing, because again, all about your placement. You have to protect your queen. If the enemy is using the battle healer, place your queen in the last row, because the battle healer deck is not using an archer and is not using a miner. So placing your queen in the corner is turning her into like 1 versus 9 machine, like no one can touch her. At the same time, if your opponent is going to use, for example, the miner and the archer, well, then make sure that you're using her kind of far up. So now we have the next setup. The prince is actually knocking my prince in the back, which is awesome. Like, this is one of the reasons why I think prince is kind of nice. And now my queen is just going to defend herself, even though the mega knight is kind of annoying, but the giant skeleton and everything else is going to like peel for her. But at the same time, the mega knight with her with the ability and obviously with the barbarian king buff is just too much. So now it's 1-2. But at the same time, as I said, as barbarian king, you have to win early. Late game, it's a huge advantage to the queen typically. The queen is the one who can mess up the match or just play the match perfectly and is going to win. So for now, again, I have the lumberjack in the back, making sure I have this instant rage, so my queen is getting her ability a little bit faster. And again, we have the prince versus prince action. My prince is going to go into the back. And with this, we have again a defending option versus this miner. The miner in this matchup is useless. If you had problems against the miner, well, then just, it's brutal, but then just learn how to defend it. You can see in none of those matches, the miner was a deciding factor. Every single time the lumberjack, the guard, or something caught the miner, and it was useless. It was pretty much useless. The only thing you have to do as Barbarian King, identify the strength of the Barbarian King deck, what you're facing. Is it using Magic Archer? Is it using Archer? Is it using the Miner? What is the win condition of the Barbarian King? And then you can adapt. So let's move into the next match. We're going up against Maeve. And that's another Queen Barbarian King matchup. I'm still using the Prince. I have to say, after the tournament, I have learned that in my opinion, the pekka is better, because the pekka is even better at countering the Miner. So again, we have the same setup. This setup we're going to win 100%, except if he's having 1-star Archer, which he does not have. So we're going to, like, this is already our round. Like, at this point, nothing he can do. It is that stupid. It is really, truly that stupid. Queen is getting her level 10 ability. There is the stun of the giant skeleton. And yeah, it's our round. It's always close, but like I said, like, even the first round is typically a round which you're not supposed to win in this matchup. But if you have the setup, you're going to win. Like, yeah, it's strange. Then the next thing you want to go for is the musketeer, or you want to go for the prince and guard combination. It's totally up to you. I really like to go for the musketeer and then the lumberjack combination to make sure that we have the instant rage to get the queen even faster. We are switching the side because he expected us to stay, so we're dodging the prince. But we have the miner on our queen. One of the first times with the miner on the queen, but it is not a deciding factor because, again, yeah, the queen has enough HP and he is not run so far. Oh, wait a second. Nope. Again, the 1 HP. As I said, this 1 HP is an insane buff. I still don't know why they buffed the queen, but yeah, like, the queen right now is, yeah, strong. She's really strong. As long as you can turtle. Like, this is this one thing. I see so many queen players, and that's really, you can see the difference between a good and a bad queen player after the first round. After the first round, I see so many queen players in the first round placing the queen in the back, placing the queen in the last row. Guys, if the enemy has an archer, you're going to lose. That's not the purpose of your queen. Place the queen a bit further up. Make sure there's something behind. Make sure there's something tanking for the queen everywhere, from every single direction. This one, though, he is going to win. The bowler surprised me, and that's another thing. Like, the kings are always coming up with something new. They're trying to come up with something new. They're trying to somehow get this matchup in their favor, which so far no one really has gotten. And there's a couple of decks where you can get lucky and obviously win, but at the same time, it's always in the queen hands, in my opinion. Now, again, we're keeping the matchup. I hope that he's switching the bowler, and he does. He's actually pushing back now the giant skeleton, which is an interesting choice. The miner is a strange interaction, but it's going behind my queen with, again, the queen ability, so the level 10 ability is activating. And again, yeah, 3, 2, 1. So you saw a couple of matchups with this queen deck. If you want to copy it for free, try out for your own if you like Prince or if you like Pekka better. And I think now we should take a look at the tournament format. And this is the tournament bracket. And I have to say, I never had that much fun so far in Clash Minion. If you're looking for more tournaments, there is a Discord link down below, which is a community Discord link of some of my friends. And they're hosting from time to time tournaments for level 8 and above, hero level, and for level 7 and below, to make sure that it's not too crazy. Level 5 versus level 10 or something like that. So it's really, really cool, really nice. And those were those were all of the players which played in this one. We can see a lot of familiar names: Funex, Gizbro, Visual Kids, Maeve, a lot of players from the top ranks. And one thing as well, which is showcased in this one, rank that does not mean anything. I have to say props, huge props actually, to Treffet, who really surprised me, because he was not on my board at all. Who I thought would be the favorite, he was not on my list. And overall, I played even against him. Like, game-wise, I lost 3-2 to him twice, and then I won 3-1 to him. But I had, because I went from the lower bracket, I had to beat him twice in the finals in the best of 5. But overall, I just have to say GG. He is insanely good, and I think if the current ranking, the leaderboards, would be not time-based, he would be most likely the #1 player in the world. He is really, really good with a lot of different decks. He played Barbarian King, he played Queen in a really, really good fashion. And he was one of the only players who beat my Queen as Barbarian King over the entire tournament. Because, as I said, I used Queen as a Barbarian King counter. So, for example, when I thought the opponent would use the King as the hero, I always used the Queen. If I say, okay, for example, Visual Kids, I won 2-0 versus him, he's a really good one-trick Queen player. I just played Shieldmate and he had no chance. And that's kind of the cool thing about tournaments, where in my opinion, the true skill is coming up about understanding the game, because everyone can one-trick one hero, right? Everyone can one-trick one hero, play a ton of games, and then just be at the higher end of the leaderboards, because it's time-based, and because you're playing a lot, you can know this hero a lot. But playing tournaments is completely different, and I have so much fun doing that. And as soon as the spectate mode is in the game, I will try to host the iTzu Cup as well with Rush in Clash Mini as well. This means 1k prize money, hopefully. I won't promise anything, but that's kind of the plan. Really looking forward to that. I'm super hyped. I'm super hyped for more future Clash Mini tournaments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you can master this deck as well, because it's going to get you wins. Thank you so much. Now we'll see you guys back tomorrow for the next one. Until then, see ya and bye bye.